What's up, house group? Sunday was Easter. It was a great day as we celebrated the resurrection, the fact that Jesus didn't just live 2,000 years ago, but he lives today, and that changes everything about our futures despite all our failures. I think it's easy, even for those of us who've been following Jesus for a long time, to look at the mistakes we've made and the regrets we have and decide we are just too messed up to really make an impact for Jesus. And so we settle, not for horrible lives doing horrible things, but just for small stories. We write ourselves out of the narrative of anything big or meaningful God might want to do in the world, because really, after where we've been and what we've done, how could he possibly want us to have any part of that, right? It's easy to end up in that spot, even subconsciously. But when Jesus showed up after the resurrection and met with his disciples, who, by the way, had all given up on him and given up on the dreams they had for their futures and basically given up hope, I think he delivered a message loud and clear to us in the midst of all the times we feel like our failures have somehow disqualified us from being a part of what God wants to do in the world. Specifically, Jesus' interaction with Peter is really powerful. On the night Jesus was arrested, Peter denied knowing him 3 times, which is exactly what Jesus told him he'd do, and he swore up and down he'd never do, but he did it. And then Jesus got crucified, and Peter had to live with the knowledge that the last interaction he ever had with his best friend was lying that he didn't even know him. And the guilt and shame of that were almost too much for Peter to bear. And so he basically bailed. He ran away, he cried, and ultimately he decided to go back to who he used to be, back to being a fisherman, back to a life that didn't ask him to believe anything. Ultimately, he went back to what was comfortable, because shame always points us back to our past, but Jesus points us ahead to our future. And that's what he did for Peter. He showed up on a beach one day after Peter decided Jesus is dead and he's going to stay dead. And then Jesus cooked breakfast for all of his disciples, and he had this powerful interaction with Peter. He asked him 3 times, "Peter, do you love me?" And then 3 times after Peter replied yes, Jesus gave him a mission. And Peter, understandably, had his feelings hurt at first, because it felt like maybe Jesus was just rubbing his face in his deepest failures, getting a little revenge by getting back at him 3 times for Peter's denials. But that's not what Jesus was doing at all. He was taking Peter back to his worst moment, not to beat him over the head with it, but to set him free from it, to break the chains of his shame and aim him toward the world-changing mission he'd been called to. And I think in this interaction, we learn a few things from how Jesus treats Peter about how Jesus treats us, even in the middle of the messes we've made. Number 1, Jesus pursues us. He chases us down even when we're running away from him and even when we don't deserve the love that he shows. And number 2, Jesus welcomes us, even before we get our act together, before we believe, before we're good enough, before we've checked the right boxes. He invites us in. You guys, being broken isn't a disqualifier, it's a prerequisite for coming to Jesus. And number 3, Jesus restores us. He takes the things that scarred us and turns them into things that shape us into the people we were made to be. He transforms our stories and makes us new. And then, the 4th thing, Jesus sends us. Just like he gave Peter a mission, he gives you and me a mission too. Because there are sheep out there. Jesus kept telling Peter, "Feed my sheep." Because there are lost, broken, hurting, helpless people desperate for the good news and the love we have. And we are God's plan to bring it to them. And so the question is, will we? Will we allow our shame to overwhelm us to the point of just shrinking back and settling for comfort? Or will we believe that Jesus pursues, welcomes, restores, and sends us, imperfect as we are? And will we step into that calling and do what Peter and the disciples did? Give our lives to the cause of telling the world about the good news of Jesus. I think if we'll do that, if you'll do that, the world will change. Like one life at a time, 1 inch at a time. And you won't regret it.